Hey gang, it's your old buddy Platt, and today I show you how to brew an American IPA. So let's go. Alright guys, we got another fun brew for you today. Normally I talk about I'm not a big hoppy beer guy, but I like beer, so we're going to produce one of the hoppier beers out there, an American IPA. For those of you that are kind of newer into the craft beer thing or don't necessarily know the terminology, IPA stands for India Pale Ale, and these beers were created back in colonial times. The British had troops all over the world, predominantly in India, and they wanted their old style kind of public, pub ales, your bitters, what have you. However, those beers could not survive the long sea voyage from London to India. So what they did is they created another style of beer called an IPA because of the trip to India, where they bumped up the ABV and they added additional hops. This helped it survive the trip, the extra alcohol. And hops has kind of an antiseptic quality to it, so it kept, from any kind of bacterial growth or anything like that. So it made the beer heartier, and the troops appreciate that and fell in love with the style of beer. Now, what makes an American IPA an IPA is basically we switch the hops. The English style IPAs use what's called noble hops. Those are classic kind of old school European hops, more floral notes you'll get, where American style hops are more aggressive, piney, citrusy. When you hear the term like juicy IPAs, it's those kind of citrusy hops that you get that flavor from. So that's what makes the American IPA a little unique from the British style IPA. Well, with that being said, let's get to brewing an American IPA. All right, guys, time to mash in. I've heated 7 quarts of water up to 160 degrees. We'll go ahead, kill the heat, and we'll begin to stir in our grains. Like I said, you always want to get these stirred in, make sure all the grains are completely saturated, covered in water. This helps our what's called mash house efficiency, basically how efficiently we convert these grains into sugar, thus to be used by our beer. We normally do a 60-minute mash in. We are going to do a 75-minute mash in for this particular recipe. Also, something too, real quick, I don't know if I ever say these in these videos, but I want to make sure. When you're doing your mash in, have a little lid. Let's keep that heat in. We want to hold this at around 152 degrees for 75 minutes. So let me get this stirred in. We'll cover up and we'll come back in 75 minutes. All right, guys, it's been 75 minutes. Time to strain and drain the grains. We're gonna lift our bag. Always nice to have one of these if you got them. I'll do it like that. Don't leave too much mess. Real quick, I want to answer a question I've got. Somebody asked me recently about mashing out. I did it in a couple of the earlier videos. Haven't been doing it since we got into brewing the bag. Mashing out, what would happen is we'd raise the temperature for about 10 minutes up to around 170 degrees. This stops all the enzymic action that had been going on. We do this mash in to kick in some insides in the grain to start converting the starch to sugar. Once you do that mash out, you kind of stop that. That is traditionally done when doing, if we were to sparge the grain, a traditional, more all grain style recipe, if we were using a 3-vessel brew system, something like that. But because we're using the brew in the bag, it's really not as necessary, so we kind of skip that process when doing brew in the bag. But I wanted to answer that question. Anyway, I'm going to let the grains drain, and I'm going to kick the heat back on, and we will come back for the start of our boil. All right, guys, we're getting ready to hit our boil. The first thing we want to do when doing this is make sure we get through our hot break. Don't get a boil over. See, we're starting to get a little foaming action going here. Easiest way I found to do it is just give it a little stir. Kind of knock down that foam. You can spray water if you would like in there too to kind of knock down the foam, but we're just going to knock down this foam real quick. We're doing a 60-minute boil. We're going to knock down this foam a little bit, and then at the start of the boil, we're going to add our first hop addition. Again, this being American IPA, we're going to stick with those classic West Coast style hops, and we're starting off with a 1/4 ounce of Willemette hops. And again, you want to keep an eye on that, because even though we got through the hot break, then the hops kind of kick things back off. So anyway, got that hop addition in. We will come back in 40 minutes for our next hop addition. All right, gang, time for another hop addition. With 10 minutes left in the boil, we're going to add our third different hop. We're adding a 1/4 ounce of Amarillo hop to this. Kind of a cornucopia of classic West Coast hops. Well, we'll come back another 5 minutes for our last hop additions. And all right, gang, with about 5 minutes left to boil, we got our last hop addition. We're adding 2 hop additions, a 1/4 ounce of Amarillo and a 1/4 ounce of Cascade to finish off the boil. Also at this time, I'm going to add a 1/4 tablet of Whirlfloc. We've used this before to help keep our brews clear. This helps coagulate the protein. So 5 more minutes to boil, then we'll come back to chill or wort. All right, gang, time to chill the wort. As you guys know, summertime I use Kviek Yeast, so it's less temperature sensitive for me. But if you want to use a more traditional yeast like a Safale US05 or Y Yeast 1056 for this style of beer, feel free to. Always check your temperature guides on the back of these yeast packets. They'll give you, kind of temperature standards and storage standards. I give you just a broad kind of range of temperatures, but be sure to check those out before you pitch your yeast. And then with that being said, we'll come back to wrap up. Well, all right, gang, time to wrap up. That was a fun little brew. Real quick, you probably noticed we've already got kind of a layer of sediment. When you do these real hoppy beers with multiple hop additions, you're just going to get a lot of trub, a lot of matter on the bottom. That's fine. It's not going to harm your beer. We'll separate that out later. Just kind of giving you a heads up on that. Real quick, let's jump into the mash bill. We start off with 2.75 pounds of pale malt, a 1/4 pound of caramel malt, and then when we got into our hop addition at 60 minutes, 1/4 ounce of Willemette, 20 minutes, a 1/4 ounce of Cascade, 10 minutes, 1/4 ounce of Amarillo, and at 5 minutes we had 1/4 ounce of Amarillo and another 1/4 ounce of Cascade. I'm utilizing Kviek Yeast like I do during the summertime. You could go, like I said, with a Safale US05 or a Y Yeast 1056. Kind of your traditional American style ales. Not that you couldn't use a Nottingham or one of those British style pub ales, but that, again, that would be more for an English style IPA. Real quick, we'll jump into our numbers. This recipe is projected original gravity 1066, projected final gravity 1014 for a projected ABV of 7% and projected IBU of 61. Our data gravity reading, we hit our gravity 1066, so hopefully we can hit anywhere from 1010 to 1016, should get us around that 7% ABV range. Because we're utilizing Kviek Yeast, we'll do just 1 week in primary, 2 weeks in secondary bottle. So in less than a month, we'll have a hopefully delicious American IPA to consume. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, check out the other videos on the channel and give this a like to let YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you'd like me to brew, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.